Welcome to the Builders Podcast, episode 108, Jono Petrohilo, how to create and promote successful online courses, tips, and benefits. Before we jump into this episode, please subscribe to this podcast, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube, and after a listen, please give us a thumbs up, like, and share, if we've earned it. With your help, we can reach more people and deliver these valuable from the trenches lessons to those that need it. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another The Builders. Today, we are joined by Jono Petrohilo. Jono is the co-founder and director of Fitness Education Online, and he knows a lot about courses and building courses. He's built his own courses. He's helping other people build their own courses in their vertical or whatever. So I'm excited about this conversation. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt. I'm super excited to be on. Thank you for having me on, and most importantly, thank you for getting both my first name and my surname correct. You got the Australian one and the Greek one, so plus 10 points for you.
Thank you. I'm starting off. Yeah, I'm still. Well, it's not my day. It's like 6 a.m. for you. It's a little later in the day for me. So,
what time have you got, Matt? 6 p.m.
I have about 1 p.m.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're a West Coast boy, right?
I'm a middle of the country boy.
Middle of the country boy. Okay.
Upper Midwest, Wisconsin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's like, I think if you're an East Coast person, you can't get any further away from where I am in Sydney, Australia. If you go any further away, you start coming back around to the other side.
Nice. Well, I have an international team and stuff, so I'm used to working with people on the other side of the planet. So it's kind of a natural thing for me.
Yeah. Well, do you want me to share a quick funny story there, Matt, or that I find funny anyway?
Yeah, go for it.
I used to work with a Google Ads expert who was based in the UK. And at the time, I think it was summertime there or whatever, and it was legitimately 12 hours apart. Like when it was 8 a.m. over here, it was 8 p.m. over there. And it was so funny because we were meeting twice a day to start with, but it would be like the start of my day. Like I'd jump on here at 6 a.m. or whatever it was, and he'd be over there at 6 p.m. and he'd be like, right, here's a summary of what I've done during the day. I'll wake up in the morning and check it. And then I'd kind of work all day and I'd see I'd do some changes on the ads or whatever. And then it'd be 6 p.m. my time. And then I'd have a meeting with him. And it was like, all right, Andy, here's what's going on here. And he's just slept and gone on. And it was a great experience because it was like the account was getting worked on 24 hours a day. You know, if you just work with someone in your time zone, it's kind of like you both do a bit of work during the day and then you both do, nothing when the things go off. This was like a 24-hour work on the account, so it was great.
Yeah, that actually is a really big benefit of working with people on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
Same for us, for my web design agency. I have developers and stuff that work in India or Philippines, and so overnight they can work on things. I can pick it up in the morning, and if they have something, we need to finish something, I can finish it or whatever, and back and forth. It's actually a really cool thing. So if those listening, if you haven't noticed, and he mentioned it, he is from Australia. So this is our first guest from Australia, but no, the first guest living in Australia. We actually had a guest here already that was from there, but he lives in Texas, so he doesn't count now. So that's Edward Fox. But no, it's great. I'm excited to dive into these topics. But first, on the Builders, what we like to do is start out with your story. And so you can tell us a little bit more about who you are, like what your journey was like, how you got started, how you kind of were attracted to entrepreneurship or building businesses, and who inspired you, what inspired you, how did that all come to be to where you land today, be doing this awesome stuff for people and being the awesome person you are.
Okay, so big question, and there's a few kind of key points there. So what I'll do is I'll start fairly early on, but I'll try and give some tips along the way as well. So it's not just, me talking about myself the whole time. But long story short, my background is in fitness, Matt. I used to run a boot camp over here in Australia, but the boot camp was part of a franchise. And there were 75 different locations all over Australia. And we were ranked on how good we were. 1 being the best, 75 being the worst. Basically on your retention statistics, how many of your clients would come back to your next boot camp kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Now, take a guess what I was ranked, Matt. Initially, anyway. 1 being the best, 75 being the worst.
I'm going to say 25.
You're too kind. I was 75, right?
75.
75.
Okay.
I was ranked
room for improvement.
Exactly. Yeah. And it wasn't like a confidence thing. It's not like, oh, I don't think I'm good. It was statistically proven that I wasn't good at what I did. I would log onto the dashboard and there was a pie chart telling me how bad I was. That's how you know you're bad at something, right? If there's a pie chart telling you.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I really, really liked it. And I was like, oh, look, I don't want to get fired. I don't want to lose this franchise. Like, I want to keep doing it. What can I do? And at the end of the year, we had a conference where all different 75 boot camp instructors would go and we'd liaise. We'd have, a conference, right? Mm-hmm. And off the bat, I had to have a meeting with the franchise owners. And they were like, Jono, you're a nice guy, but you're not very good at running this boot camp thing. You've seen the pie chart. You're coming 75th. What's going on? And I basically came up with every excuse under the sun. I'm like, oh, it's not my fault. Like, there's a new gym that's opened up, and there's a 24-hour gym here, and there's online programs there, and the area I'm living in is too competitive, and the government, and also you guys are the franchise. You should be doing more sales and marketing for me. And I'm in Sydney. It rains over here. There's the weather. Like, every excuse I could come up with.
You covered all the bases. That's for sure.
Probably made up a few as well. And they said to me, they were like, Jono, we got some good news, and we got some bad news. The bad news is, as a boot camp instructor, you suck. You're coming 75th. But the good news is you can do something about it. Because at the moment, you're sitting here and blaming everybody else but yourself. Maybe it's not the competition's fault that you suck. Maybe you haven't done enough to be better than the competition. What upskilling have you done? What books have you read? What courses have you attended? What conferences have you been to? What mentors have you hired? And I was like, oh, I actually got to do some extra stuff than just my initial certification. And they were like, in sales and marketing. They're like, okay, if our sales and marketing is so bad, why don't you go out and do some yourself? And I was like, oh, that's a good point too. And they were like, the weather. They're like, Jono, you can go out and hire like a school hall or a church hall for $20. You can solve your biggest problem for $20, but you're too busy sitting here blaming everyone else but yourself. And I was like, damn it, they're right. And they said, look, Jono, your job's safe, but what we want you to do for the next 12 months, don't blame all these other people. If there's a problem, go and fix it yourself. Go and do a course, fix that thing, and then, you'll get a bit better. Another problem's going to come up, go and fix that problem, do a course, read a book, it's going to get better. Just do that for 12 months and come back and see what happens. And I was like, yeah, I wasn't 100% sold at that stage. But then I heard the story of one of the owners, because she was like super successful person, right? And I'll give some background on her. So at the time she was 25, right? She owned 75 different locations. Each location paid her about $1,000 a week to run the franchise. I know, because that's what I was paying. So she was making $75,000 a week as a 25-year-old without even getting out of bed, right?
Wow.
And at the time, I was like, probably lucky, rich parents, easy for her, blah, 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 blah. But then I heard her story, and she was actually a high school dropout. And she was telling the story. She's like, yeah, look, I'm a high school dropout. My first job was at Valley Girl. That's the equivalent to, let's just say, a Walmart over there. First job was at Walmart. Got fired from Walmart, right, at 18 or something. And she was like, oh, I'm a loser. I'm a high school dropout. I got fired from Walmart. Who gets fired from Walmart? I've got no skills, no qualifications, no jobs. What am I going to do? But she went out, studied, became a personal trainer, became good at it. Opened 1 location, 2 locations, 3 locations, 75 location. Here we are making $75,000 a week. Now, I was a university-educated exercise physiologist. And I'm kind of like, if a high school dropout can do, and nothing against a high school dropout, most of them are but it just kind of showed me, I came from quite a traditional upbringing. My parents were well-educated, teachers, psychologists. So my view on money was like, to be successful financially, you need to study for all these years, become a doctor, become a lawyer. That kind of blew my mind, and that gave me the confidence. And that gave me the confidence to actually follow their advice and be like, maybe these people know something I don't. I'm coming 75th out of 75. They own all 75. Maybe I should listen to what they say if I want to be successful. So implemented their advice and essentially did that. Did one course, like how to have a more successful bootcamp or whatever, and it was great. It cost $300-400, but as a result, learned some strategies to get new clients directly and to keep some clients as well. So I think from that $300 investment, I probably made $1,000. And I was like, this is great. Give me more of these courses. Did another one. Same kind of thing. Did another one. Same kind of thing. Did another one. Same kind of thing. And fast forward, I went to that same conference 12 months later. Now take a guess what I was ranked, Matt.
2.
Number 1.
Number 1.
Right? Number 1. 75 to 1 from 20.
I could have easily guessed 1 or 75 in both cases, but
yeah.
I'm trying to be creative.
Trying to make it fun. Yeah, exactly. So went from 20 clients to 100 clients.
Wow.
Then, the next year, same kind of thing, opened up a second location, number 1 again. And the big part was always kind of courses for me. I'm like, the reason why I'm getting this success is because I'm doing these courses and implementing what's involved in these courses here. Well, yeah,
if I may, kind of interrupt you here.
Of course.
So, number 1, I think awesome story so far, and I'll let you get back at it. But I wanted to say, like the idea, you're talking about here is basically understanding that you can invest in yourself, and when you invest in yourself, maybe not every time, but you're going to start to see a return on that investment if you take the time to whether you're paying for it or whatever, or the time or where you're going. That you have to be able to do that. You can't. A lot of people, I think, they get stuck, like you were doing, is blaming everybody else. You see people in everyday life like that. They're complaining about everything, and they're not working on themselves. And I think that's a lesson you got to learn about yourself. That sounds like you were in the right organization and the right people surrounded you that were able to say, "Hey, you have control of this. You just have to put in the work and the time and effort, and stop blaming everybody else." I think that's an excellent lesson 100%. Right there.
And it's an interesting one, right? Because you're not wrong. Either way, you're not wrong. Like, those things were still happening. There was still a 24-hour gym down the road. There was still people doing online. I wasn't wrong saying that, but it just wasn't helping me. Both ways are right. I can look at it and be like, the reason I'm not successful is because of all of these things here. I can be like, the reason I'm unsuccessful is because I'm not as good as these people here. Both of them are right. But if I go the blaming side of things, I'm always going to go down the bottom. If I go on the other side of things and take accountability, well, there's actually a chance that I might be able to get better. So that's the way I look at that. And the only thing with that is, the hardest part, I found anyway, is I needed to give my ego a hit. Because I basically need, and I guess it was easy for me because I was ranked 75, so it wasn't hard to be like, I'm not as good as I should be. But I think maybe for other people and for me in other circumstances, it's hard to kind of admit and say, hey, I'm not as good as I think I am. And the way I need to get better is by doing this course here. So I think that was a key thing for me. So just want to add that. Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm going to keep interrupting you.
You go. No, please. You'll go.
I got all these thoughts. No, it's funny because in hindsight, you'll see that too. Like, there's I think about the early days. I've been doing various businesses for decades, and I think back to those early days in some of those businesses where it's like, man, if I knew what I knew today, and I'd learned those lessons or taken whatever, if it's courses or whatever, if I had the right mentors, I had no idea what I was doing back then. You know, and
but you thought you did, right?
At the time, you think you know everything. It's like, I can do it. I know all I need to know. But you have to have that wake up call, whether that's internally, just figuring that out along the way, or somebody has to step in and help you and guide you. For sure. That's awesome.
So and then what happened from there? So I'd always do these courses. It hit a bit of a block. I'd always take something out of it, right? But still, after a couple of years of it and doing all these different courses, I was kind of like, I feel like I could put something together with now all my knowledge, all my experience, what I've done, something better or at least different to anything else is out there. And also I felt I could help more people, because what I found were sometimes a lot of the people facilitating the courses were naturally good at what they did. And this is what I found in the course creation, is just teaching space in general, and especially with sports as well. Like if someone's naturally good at what they do, they're often not the best teacher because it just comes so natural for them. They can just say, let's say we're going the fitness side of things. Oh, yeah, easy. Just do a circuit and whole body workout. And then, yeah, if someone's interested, just give them a call and, sell them on the phone. And then, make some posts on social media. And if you're naturally good at that sort of stuff, that's very easy. But if you're a technical dunce like I was, I didn't know what to post on social media. Someone telling me post on social media means absolutely nothing. I sucked at sales. Someone saying, oh, yeah, give the person a call and do a sales consult. There's probably less of a chance of them signing up after doing my sales consult at that stage there, I didn't have the bank of workouts. So that's the other thing I had. I felt like no matter how bad you aren't running a boot camp, you can't be worse than me. And if I can do it, I've got the blueprint to help someone else do it. The other thing in terms of differences, a lot of the courses back then weren't really specific for like a boot camp. They were still specific for personal trainers, but they were more in like a gym-based setting. So they still worked for me, but I'd have to do some translating in my head. So let's say I did a course on kettlebells. The course would kind of be focused where, Matt, let's say I'm a trainer. Matt, you come into the gym. I've got you in a whole gym. And we've got all these different weight kettlebells and these other things. And here's how I can get you to do a kettlebell workout with unlimited equipment. That's completely different if I'm running a boot camp across the park with 20 people. I can't even bring 20 kettlebells there. So I need to use that knowledge, but implement it in a way that works in boot camp. And that's where I saw another kind of opportunity. I'm like, okay, there's no courses here specific for this market. And it's one of the biggest markets in the fitness industry in Australia. That's all we do. Go out to the beach and park and run boot camps, right? So I saw an opportunity there and I was like, look, I want to put one of these courses or workshops together. Now, this is back in about 2014 kind of thing, where online courses weren't as big as what they are now. And I was like, all right, let me do some research. I found a web developer and they said, yep, we'll create a website for you and put a course on there and it's $20,000. And I was like, ooh, I don't have $20,000. And even if I did, it's a bit of a gamble to put it on this thing that I don't even have any customers with. So I kind of parked it, but it was on the back of my mind. And actually, I'll go back a step as well. At the time, I was thinking between the face-to-face course and an online course. And at the time, I was working my butt off with this boot camp. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to... The only day I have off is Sunday. I don't know if I really want to give up my Sundays to run one of these workshops because I got to give up my Sunday. I got to find a facility. I got to pay the facility. I got to market it. I got to get people down. And I could do all that and nobody comes down. Or worse still, I could do all that and only one person comes down. Then I actually have to run the workshop. If no one comes, I could have just gone home. So that's why I was 100% sold on online. I'm like, this is my only option. Don't do it any other way. And, it was kind of the back of my mind. I was scrolling through Facebook one day and an advertisement came up for an ebook. Now, keep in mind, I'm not an online guy at that time, right? I was a fitness guy. I didn't know what an ebook was. I thought you had to be like a publisher or an author or something. So purchased this ebook and I was going through it. And I was like, hold on, it's a good ebook, good content, but I'm like, this is just a Microsoft Word document saved as a PDF. Yeah, right. And I'm like, I'm a technological dunce, but I know how to open up Microsoft Word document, type some workouts in there, and save as PDF. So I was like, maybe this is my online course. It will be an ebook. And it was me and a business partner at this stage. Shout out to Travis if you're listening. And we put together this ebook. And it was a solid ebook, Matt. It wasn't like a 2-page free cheat sheet kind of thing. Like, it was a manual. It was like a chapter out of a textbook that had everything you need to run a successful boot camp. So we're proud of it, but there was one problem. It looked like a Microsoft Word document. And I was like, all right, how can I make this look better? And I took the night off work, gave my classes to someone else for the night, and I fiddled around on Microsoft Word to try and make it look better. And I made it look worse because if you're not good at Microsoft Word, it's hard. I don't know what you're like on Word, Matt, but you try and edit it and it indents one way and it page breaks here and the font change. For a personal trainer trying to be a Microsoft Word editor, not a good mix.
I've gotten a little better over the last couple decades, but it still can hurt you.
Exactly. So I went to my old friend Google and I'm like, all right, how do I edit this thing or whatever? And it showed me the website Fiverr. And I'd never heard of Fiverr before. And it's changed a little bit now, but back then you could get anything you want done for $5. And I remember opening it up and seeing some of the things people were doing for $5. I'm like, is this even real? Because there was one guy on there that said he'd slap himself in the face for $5. I'm like, this can't be real. So I purchased it because I just wanted to, out of interest. And within a couple minutes, he sent me a video of him slapping himself in the face. And I'm like, this guy's an idiot. Some of the things people do for money. But then I got thinking,
That's
and
your
I'm
money.
but listen to this, Matt. I'm like, hold on. He didn't send me a personal invite, a personal message on that video. He sent me an unlisted YouTube video. And I went back on that unlisted YouTube video. It had 100,000 views.
Nice.
This guy slapped himself in the face once, and he got 100,000 idiots like me. I thought he was the idiot, right? I'm the idiot, me and 100,000 other people that have paid This guy made $500,000. Obviously, Fiverr takes a cut. I don't know how that works, whatever. But either way, there was $500,000 made. Yeah. $500,000 from this guy slapping himself in the face once. And once again, this guy had no skills, no charisma, no personality, no sense of humor. He just slapped him, could barely speak English, just slapped himself in the face once and made $500,000. What the crap is my excuse? That did a couple of things. A, it motivated me. I'm like, okay, this is great. B, it showed me the power of like online leverage, where if you do the thing once, it goes again and again and again, which furthered why I wanted to get an online course together. But number 3, it showed me what an unlisted YouTube video is. I was like, hold on. Along with this Word document, I can, because there were some things in fitness it's hard to explain by typing, you know? I was like, hold on. I can get these videos off my phone, put them on YouTube as unlisted, add them to the course so the only people that see these courses are the people that have those links there. And that's going to make the course twice as valuable. Because there might be some people that aren't readers. Now they can watch the videos instead. There might be people that want to do both. They watch the video and they read it. There's some concepts that are explained better in reading. It just made it so much more valuable. And I also found someone to edit the Word document for $5 to make it look better as well. So after that, I was a lot more like confident. It's like, right, it's good content. It looks good enough. I mean, $5 on Fiverr, you kind of get what you pay for, but at least it had a border and fonts and page numbers and whatnot, right? And it had videos on there as well. And I was like, okay, this is good enough. I got it registered with the body over here, Fitness Australia, and that way it goes on their website, and that's like the go-to hub for personal trainers over here if you want info, courses, whatever. Okay. Put it on there and made a sale almost instantly. Was like someone called me and said, hey, I'm on this website, I want to do your course, how do I sign up? I hadn't got that far yet because I didn't know how to do it. I was a personal trainer.
Send me $5.
Yeah.
Mail.
And I was like, what am I going to do? So I said, I'm just in a meeting, I'll call you back. I wasn't in a meeting, but I just went to Google again and I was like, how do you get money online? And PayPal came up. And I'm like, right, let me quickly put PayPal together, sent him a PayPal link, sold that course for $300. Right, so it was a $5 investment on my behalf to put it together, $300 profit, and 0 work. After the course was done, like I didn't need to fulfill it like I did when I was running a boot camp. I make a sale, great, now I've got to train that person. It was done for you, So that was pretty good, but I was still a little bit nervous. I was like, what if they're going to say, buddy, you just charged me $300 for a Microsoft Word document? Give me a refund. Or what if they're like, this content is bad. I already knew all this stuff because I didn't know. I'd never sold it to my audience before that were clients, like my personal training clients. I hadn't really sold anything to a personal trainer, so I wasn't sure what they were going to say. And I got the feedback form, like whatever it was, a couple weeks later. I was so nervous, Matt. I was like, here we go. It's going to be all these complaints and whatever. And I opened it up and the feedback was great. Was like, this was so good. The info was good. I could go through it at my own pace. It was a good combination of video and written work. And at the time, I was just like, whew, I don't have to give someone $300 back. And then next person that signed, good feedback again. Next person that found, good feedback again. And then from there, I was like, okay, I'm onto something. I've got this thing that people are buying with me doing very little sales and marketing work. I've got this thing that I don't need to do any work on if someone buys. And then I've got this thing that's getting really, really great feedback. And I'm putting very little effort into it. Imagine if I actually put effort into it. What's going to happen there? So then I went all out. I want to go back and recap a couple of things, but I'll just kind of share the end story for everyone. So, that's what I've been working on for the past 10 years. Now I've got about 40 different online courses that are better than just Microsoft Word documents as well. I've upskilled since then. The business generates about $1 million a year in revenue, which I'm very proud of. And also it's award-winning business. So twice now, I've won the Australian Fitness Educator of the Year on these courses. And the reason I'm proud of that, that's an official award by the governing body, is There used to be a thing in the industry that online courses weren't as good. It was like the face-to-face courses are the best and you do online if you can't attend them or whatever. That award that I won, it's not just for online people. It's for everyone. The certification organizations, the TAFEs, the college, the universities. I don't know if they entered it, but they could have entered it if they want. And me and my business still won this award here. So, yeah, very proud of that. I'd love to go back and unpack some of the things I did right and wrong, but did you want to add to any of that, Matt?
Wow, there is a lot to unpack. That's awesome. And I love your energy. I can tell.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you probably.
I like online. Coach. You can tell I like online courses, right?
Yeah, I like it. No, it's interesting because there's so many things you talk to there. One of the things you just said was like, you put this together and you kind of put it out there in the world and suddenly you're making sales. And it's like, now what if I actually tried?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things I think about even when it comes to creating video or podcasting or whatever, and what I'm doing, it's like, I'm actually getting results from what I'm doing now. What if I scale that up and actually put some effort into it?
100%.
But that's probably how this podcast in the beginning, I probably, because I didn't know how it was going to go. But as time went on, I got some guests. I started getting good feedback. People were enjoying themselves, and here we are. But so that can be applied to so many things. But courses in particular, though, I know we talked a little bit about this when we had our intro call recently. Just yesterday or this morning, whatever. Whatever time zone you're in, whatever happened there. I go back in the 2000s. I was doing a lot of more internet marketing stuff, and I was teaching people in a variety of ways. And some of that was ebooks. We call them special reports. Sometimes I'd create like one of the most popular ones I got known for, I sold thousands of them, was something called Campaign Blasts. It was pay-per-click methods for affiliate marketers. And so when I first did that, it was I had been just creating little short, like 10, maybe 20, maybe 30 pages ebooks. And like, it was just simple Word doc converted to a PDF.
Yep. Yeah.
And the first few I didn't do anything, actually. I failed miserably. I think I had some friends buy a couple just because they felt bad for me. But then one took off, and it was the Campaign Blast one, the pay-per-click methods, affiliate marketing. So it took off, and then what I did is I sold in like a week 300 copies or 350 copies. But I was there was only like $10. I wasn't a high ticket item. So unfortunately,
still $300 of anything is pretty good to sell in a week.
It was. I'd taken it because I would belong to a private forum, sold it there, and then there was a forum called the Warrior Forum back then. I was involved with that, and they had like this WSO forum, Warrior Special Offer Forum, and I took it there and sold more. But it surprised me because I hadn't sold any. I didn't feel that success before, and suddenly, like, what is this? So I can sell reports,
basically.
And what I did with that then is I scaled that up. I won't spend the rest of the time on my own story. We'll get back to you. But I scaled that up to an ebook. I started selling on ClickBank, if anyone's familiar with affiliate marketing. And got affiliates that promoted it, and I had my own affiliate program for a while, and the ebook turned from like, I think it was like 25, 30 pages to 50 to 80 to 100 to 200 page manual by the time it was done years later. And but also with that, I had memberships.
Yep.
So I had spun off. I'd actually partnered with a couple people. We had a membership, and then I spun off a little membership just for that topic. And so I dabbled in that for years, and we would provide courses in different ways, right? We would some of it was I'd use course software back then, which was pretty rudimentary back then and hard to use. And I tried all kinds of different. I would use WordPress just to like a blog. I would do video. I'd do all kinds of things. We had a forum. We had challenges in the forum. So that's that. There's so much you can do there, and it's awesome to see it still being a thing, but other people like yourself taking it to the next level and really serving a vertical like you are. And that's probably the key to this. I'm sure we'll get into that, but is finding your niche too. Cause like pay-per-click,
that's the $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
pay-per-click, affiliate marketing was my niche. Like I lived and breathed it. Yeah. And so I naturally sold to those folks until things burned up in the late 2010 or 2010 or 12. Google had
the Google
shot down my whole business.
Okay, wow. Was that the Google slap? I wasn't.
There was a lot of slaps.
Yeah,
there was a lot changed from like 2004 until like 2012. If we used to be able to do things like direct to merchant to send traffic, then we had to have landing pages, and this quality score thing came about, and then all this stuff changed in those years. Anyway, again, won't get too much into that whole story, but I love the idea of courses, and even in today, as I now have a web design agency, we have products, and it's really something I want to get back into again. So I that's why I love having you on the podcast.
Well, a couple things. I think online courses is the best business model ever. It's as, and this is, if we get time, we can even discuss this later, but it's as close to passive income in business as you can get. Yeah. Right. And I think like in kind of my space, a lot of people do high ticket coaching, and they charge $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for coaching and mastermind and that kind of thing. Like I'll take online courses over that, because it's like the down point of charging for coaching is you actually have to do the work. It's like, all right, cool, you can charge $5,000, but if you got to sit there for an hour with someone every single week for a month or a couple months or whatever, I can make just as much as that and do zero work by sending an email. So I think courses it obviously depends what you like and whatnot, but just in terms of a business model, I don't think you can beat courses. What you said in terms of the niche, Matt, that's the $1 million question. And it's an interesting one, because it's like a person can have every single thing else right. They can have the perfect course ever, so well presented. They can, on that side, they can be amazing at what they do. But if they haven't got a niche or the right niche, none of that matters. So I'll go back and share a couple of things where I just got lucky. I didn't know this at the stage. I just kind of got lucky, right?
Yeah.
I was lucky in that I was a personal trainer and I was going to these courses. And every course I went to, there were 15, 20 other people there. So the demand was already there. It's not like I just said, oh, you know what? I'm going to wake up one day and put together a course on personal trainers, right? It was like I was living and breathing that stuff for 2 years. I was going to those courses. I was meeting people that were in those courses. I knew how they found it. I knew how they signed up. I knew what price they paid. I knew what they wanted to see. I knew what they didn't want to see. Like the proof of concept was already there. I didn't know that at the state.
That's the key, though. That's the key, right? I mean,
that's the key.
The reason I was able to sell what I sold with that little report, that special report, because I belonged to a forum.
Yep.
That was, no one's going to know what Google Cache is anymore, but it was basically created by those guys that did the pay-per-click and affiliate marketing. I was there was hundreds, maybe 1,000 people in that forum, and I marketed it to them because it was exactly because I had to spin on the methods and what we were using. Yep. So, so it was way easier because the other things I was trying were kind of all over the place, topic wise. Not everyone's really interested. This was something impactful they could implement, they could do something with, and that's a huge thing. Like if you look at like what I'm thinking about now in my business, right? Is so we have our kind of one of our verticals with our agency is to work with other agencies and freelancers, right? Yep. And to help them facilitate whatever. And our products is geared towards freelancers and agencies. Yeah. So what do you think I'm going to create courses around?
a
and
course for agencies and freelancers.
Who am I helping? Yeah, right.
Yeah,
To do this particular thing with WordPress or whatever, and how to sell that. And so that's kind of, that whole thing. That's
100%. There's a few things there, and this is even how deep it goes. First, it's even just the niche. So some of my courses, Matt, I've got a course like Sales Essentials for personal trainers. I've got another one, Instagram Essentials for personal trainers, Facebook Essentials for personal trainers. Yes, I've tailored the topics in there to personal trainers, the examples and whatnot, so it is specific for them. But really, somebody else could have the exact same course as me with the exact same info, but just because mine says 4 personal trainers at the end of it, every single personal trainer is going to pick my course over them. Someone else might have it for, let's say, chiropractors, sales training for chiropractors. Every single chiropractor is going to pick that one there, right? Someone else might have it for web design people. Someone else might have it for online course creators. The person in that specific vertical is always going to pick the course that's specific to it. The person that tries to cater for everyone is going to get nobody. So that's kind of one side to it, is like, that's why that just by having the niche gives more value and makes it easier to make sales. On top of that is the proof of concept as well, because that's the other thing. Like, I was literally, because I think it's one thing, someone could be listening to this and be like, right, I'm going to put together a course on Facebook ads for chiropractors, and maybe it will work. But I don't know. I haven't been in the chiropractor space. Do chiropractors go and buy courses?
Right.
If they do, how much do they pay? Do they buy online? Do they buy face-to-face? What type of courses do they buy? Do they buy marketing courses? Do they buy physical courses? Like, the proof of, it was the niche and the proof of concept as well.
It's interesting you say that, because technically I didn't think about it that way at the time, right? But I was enveloped in the proof of concept. I was taking part in it. I was
You were
learning.
probably buying courses. You were seeing what other people courses were buying.
And here I am inside the course, selling my own course. But that's exactly. That's awesome.
And the other advantage to that is it allows you to really build an audience. In my circumstance, because I put together the course, bootcamp, went really well. Guess what? Bootcamp level 2. And guess what? Kettlebell level 2, suspension, med ball, sales, marketing, Facebook, nutrition, and it's like I could sell to the same people, because I think that's when I speak to other course creators, that's a mistake some of them make. Hey, what I'm going to do, my first course is going to be for web design people, and then I'm going to put together this next course in this topic over here. The issue with that is like you got to build 2 different niches. That's building one niche is hard enough, right? Let alone building 2 and being the authority in there. And it's so much easier just to have the one, dominate that one with multiple different courses, and then, move on to a separate one there. But they were the biggest things for me, and they're the 2 things that are the hardest to teach, because if you don't have the right niche and you don't have that the right offer for that niche, nothing else matters. No amount of sales training, SEO, Google ads, Facebook ads, social media. Like you probably know a thing or two about SEO, Matt. Like if no one's searching for the term, you're throwing your money away with SEO, right? No one's searching for the term. No one's going to even click on the Google ad, right? If no one's interested in it, no one's going to click on your Facebook ad. No one's going to follow your social media. So that's, for everyone listening, that's, I guess, a takeaway I'd get there. It's all about the demand for it. And it kind of goes to what we said earlier, Matt, about, leaning in, and then it's like, okay, right, let me try this thing. Oh, wow, this is making some money without me doing any work. Let me go all in on that. If you find something and you've got to really grind to get the first sale on there, it's probably not that hot of a thing there. It's better to maybe park that one and then put it over to the side. And I'll even share, if I can, but I'd love to share some practical tips for some of the listeners if they want to get into the course. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So the mistake that I see most course creators make is they make the course, right? Leave that for a later thing. Okay, there's a few different steps I recommend before that. I'll share a simplified version, and then we can speak about where it is, because it depends where you are. I'll start if you already have an audience, because that's easier, and then we'll go if you don't already have an audience. So if you already have an audience, the first thing I recommend doing is just testing the water a little bit. So what I do is I just make a post on my Facebook group. And I usually do it as a podcast kind of thing, but you can do it anyway. Like if there's a topic that I think will be a good course, I'll record a podcast on it. I'll then make a post in my Facebook group. Hey people, just did a podcast on this topic here. Comment below if you want the link. Now, if no one comments, No one, there's no chance I'm putting that course together. I couldn't even get someone to listen to a podcast, right?
Right.
If 5, 10 people do it, it's probably not worth the effort. But every now and then, there'll be one that 100 people comment. Okay, right, here's a hot topic. There's interest in this, right? If you're not a podcaster, that's fine. Write a blog on it, Hey, just wrote a blog on this topic here. Comment below if you want it, all right? It doesn't even have to be a LinkedIn post. Hey guys, just write a LinkedIn post, whatever, like some kind of tester there. If you're not a Facebook person, the Instagram polls are great as well. Hey people, thinking of creating a course on this topic here. Is this something you'd be interested in? Yes or no? All right. Hey people, thinking of creating a course. What topic would interest you more? This or this? Right. Now, keep in mind, there's still no guarantee. Right? I'm sure we've all had those times where you've said, hey, who wants to buy this? 100 people say yes, and then no one actually buys it, right? But we're at least scaling it in our favor. And actually with those numbers, if 100 people say yes, someone is going to buy. But you get what I'm saying. You might have 10, 20 people that say yes and no one buys. But either way, what we're doing is just testing the demand there. If I find something that's got a bit of interest on that topic, I still don't create the course yet. I just create the sales page, right? Which will look something like this. Hey people, I'm putting together this course on the best way for personal trainers to get their clients to lose fat. It's going to be a 5-week program. Here's what we're going to cover: week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. It's going to kick off on this date here. It's going to be $500 once it's fully done. But getting now is the early bird for $97. It starts next week or whatever. All right. One of two things is going to happen. No one's going to buy it. Fine. Happy days. Imagine if I put this 5-module course together, Matt, which I've done before and made a mistake in, and it took me like 6 months and made 0 sales. That's how I learned this system, right? It's like I didn't waste. What did I do? I wrote a blog, made a Facebook post and a sales page and an email. In a couple hours, if no one buys it, okay. Yes, I'm a bit upset. I would have liked to have made some money, but thank God I didn't put all that work putting the course together to make 0 sales, right? What's usually going to happen, because I've tested demand anyway, is people are going to pay for it. And you might I get whatever, 10, 20 people purchase it. Okay, great. There's $1,000, $2,000. Now I'm getting paid to put this course together, right? At the end of the 5 weeks, I've obviously got all the recordings. I clean it up a little bit. Now I've got my on-demand course that I can sell for $500, right? Now there's a few things. A, it's saving me the time of like putting together a course that no one's going to buy. I'm only putting together the course if it's already pre-sold and I've already made money off it. But just in terms of like accountability, can be very hard. As you know, creating a course on your own, you got to get motivated. You got to write it up. You're speaking to a computer screen. You don't know if anyone's going to do it. I just find it so much easier if I'm like, right, it's 5 weeks. All I need to do is 1 module a week. That's it. I don't need to create the whole course or anything. Yes, it can be hard to get together 1 module a week, but I think it's a fair level of accountability. I feel like anyone listening to this, if you can't put together a module a week, do you really have time to do this course or run this business, Right. And then on top of that, there's something different for me if I know I'm presenting it to someone else. Like if you said to me, hey, Jono, you need to create a module a week. Yeah, no dramas. I'll probably put it off or half do it. But if I know that I've got to put the module together and present it to people live, it's a little bit different. I feel there's a bit of connection. I'm going to put a bit more effort because I know people are going to be there. I feel like I know the people in there. We do a bit of Q&A before and after. It's a bit more fun. So yeah, that's my recommendation there. I'll give a tip if someone doesn't have an audience, because that only really works if you have an audience, right? But I just wanted to see if you had any questions with that at all.
No, I love the concept there. I think it's brilliant. We're going to have the podcast before you. We were talking a lot about email, and it's kind of a similar thing where it's like, you don't have to, like he was talking about creating 52, weeks worth of emails. I said,
you
don't create that all at once, do you? Start with a few, maybe longer increments, and you can ease into it, but it's also testing, because I do that. I have tested like on emails and stuff. Point. That's it. It can be applied there as well, where you put in, you have some kind of incentive, a short course, maybe 5 follow-ups.
I'll even share something there as well, Matt, why this program works as well, because it makes sure that you're pitching your course at the level to the people. Because I've made that mistake as well. I've made sales, and I go in there in week 1 and I give my presentation week 1, and I'm just like, wow, I should have pitched this way lower or way higher. All right. But it's okay, because I haven't created the other 4 weeks yet. I just need to make sure for the other and at the end of it, all right, guys, it's a bit of an intro. Look, I did go high level here. I'm going to simplify it for the remaining 4 weeks. Or the other way, hey, guys, I kept it really simple so everyone's up here. You know, the remaining 4 weeks are going to be a bit more in depth. And then I know for the remainder. So that's where the test can come in for this method as well.
You can refine it as you go then, instead of trying to guess what people are going to want.
Instead of creating the whole thing and then being like, oh, no, I need to go back and change the whole thing again. Because that's the other thing with courses, Matt. You get, I can't remember the word, I think it's sunk cost fallacy or something like that, where it's like you put all this work putting the course together and you just don't want to do it again. So you're sold on that idea. And it's like, even though you know you should go back and change it, you just don't want to go back and do all the work because you've put all this effort in now. So you just stick with that thing there. This kind of prevents a lot of that, both from the sales side of things. Because the other thing with this method, let's say you send that email and no one buys it, no dramas. Just put a different tweak on it and do something different the next month. You know, that's I think the biggest thing here. If a course creator spends, I think it's 6 to 12 months on average creating the course, if that course is a flop, they just don't want to give up on it because they've spent all that time. And I get it.
Right.
But it's not going to work. You would be better off just canning it and starting again. But it's hard to do. So I get it.
Yeah. I know you're going to get into another tip, but I got something I want to remember. Yeah. And maybe I'll just throw it in here. So what do you use for how you deliver the course?
Oh,
do you use software? Do you do email? Do you how do you?
Yeah. So good question. Short answer, because I do a few different things. I got a few different courses, but simplified version, yes, software. So the only reason I created that ebook was because I didn't know this software existed, and now some of the best softwares also have free things that are pretty good. Like if you're just going to host one course on there, the free version is good enough. It looks professional. People get logins. It's easy to use. So I use software. Now, it's a bit different for me. On Fitness Education Online, I use a software called Teachable.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend anybody else use it. It's probably not the best, but I've just got like all these courses and funnels set up there. It's too much effort for me to change it. That's what I personally use, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend other people use that. I'll simplify it. I use something else, but I won't go into that. What I'd recommend for everyone else listening, I think if you want to go budget, the best software is New Zenler. All right. Their free New Zenler. Their free version is amazing, and their paid version is still really good. It's like $70. They're $70 a month for the paid version. Best value one on the market. Not the best, but best value. And their free one is the best free one. The best one is Kajabi. The limitation to Kajabi is it's about $400 per month for their main one. So it depends where you are. If you got the $400, Kajabi, you won't go wrong. If you don't want to spend $400 hosting it yet, New Zenler free version good enough, or $70 a month, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, and I'm sure like anything, I think I've heard some people like Kajabi, some people don't like. They don't want anything to do with it. It's like anything. WordPress has some plugins out there for you to Google around, and MemberPress and stuff has a course extension.
Yep. LearnDash is the popular. I don't know if you've heard of LearnDash. They're the popular, and Lifter LMS. My thing, I'm not a fan of the WordPress plugins, not being a tech guy. Because but I just found that like I'd stuff up my website, I'd make mistakes, it's just like for me who's not a tech guy, it's so much easier just to be like, I still host my website obviously on WordPress and WooCommerce is all on there. But in terms of the coursing, the courses, I want it different because if there's a stuff up on my website, I don't want to stuff up my sales and my courses, it's like, great, that'll stuff up, but the courses are somewhere else.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. And I just want to give a quick tip if people are listening to this and they're like, oh, yeah, that's all well and good, Jono, but I don't have an audience. Now, that's the other $1 million question, right? It's like the course isn't just going to sell itself. You need to have an audience to sell it to. So there's a few different things there. Step one is obviously you need to start building an audience. But what I would say there is that's going to take time. Like it's not just as simple as, I'm going to start a TikTok account and start making all these sales. Yes, it needs to be done, but it might be 3 months, 6 months before you see any money from it, before it's even worth your time. Yes, it's got to be done because you need a strategy there, but you're not going to get anything from it at the start. So the easiest way to sell at the start is affiliates, right? If you can find somebody who's already got your audience and you're essentially right, hey, I'm putting together this 5-week program. Are you interested in selling it? It's, we split it 50-50. Right, that's the best way to start. Now, that's another $1 million question. How do I find people to do it? You could probably help with that, Matt. If your ebook's still around, you could still do that. But I'll just also give some other insights with that as well. So it is also hard, obviously, to find people that will sell your course, and you still need to make sure that the course is something that's going to sell. The little things you can do there, it's not going to be quite as good as if it's your own audience, but you can also leverage off other Facebook groups. So depending on the rules on the Facebook group and whatnot, you can still use those strategies. Hey, people, just wrote a blog on this topic here. Would you like it? Or the mini course is a good one as well. All right. If a lot of groups, they'll have like certain days where you're allowed to promote, right? Every Monday, every Wednesday or whatever. If you go in there and test a mini course, hey, people, created this free mini course on this topic here. Comment below if you're interested. If no one comments below on your free mini course, good luck trying to sell it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But if you get a lot of comments on that, okay, great. That's kind of your proof of concept. You know there's something in there, and you can even do some feedback with that as well. What's important is that you also go a little bit deeper on those few people that you manage to network with. What I even recommend doing is a Zoom call. So let's just say, let's do a role play here, Matt. Let's actually do a live role play. Let's say I'm putting together a course on how to create and sell an online course, something around that. All right. Let's say you're potentially interested. I'm on a Zoom call with you. I'm not going to sell it to you yet. I'm doing my customer research, right? So actually play along and answer these questions. Matt, I'm thinking of putting together a course. What would interest you more? How to create the online course or how to sell the online course, or both?
I feel like I can create it. So
Gotcha.
I'm really probably more interested in selling.
Awesome.
Where I'm
Okay.
gonna,
Perfect. If I was to put together a course on how to sell your online course, what kind of stuff would you want to see in there?
Well, I'd like to see, how to, like, I don't know anything about merchants or anything like that.
Yep.
Like, I don't know how, I don't understand how a cart button works.
Yep.
And then, like, where do I put that cart button?
Gotcha.
Do I need to put it on a website, or do I, how does that all work? The mechanics of it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. And let's say I was in terms of marketing, you good with marketing? Would you want some marketing there, or not so much?
Oh, so marketing, like, how I
how to run Facebook
get traffic
ads
or
traffic. How to get traffic.
Yeah, I could use help with that too. I have no idea. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's kind of like the traffic side of things, but also the conversion. Like, where do I host the course? Where do I put the button? How do I actually make sales? Awesome. All right, cool. And if I was to put together a course that covered all of that, was like how to get traffic, whether it's social media, whether it's paid, whether it's free, showed you all the merchant stuff, how to use the checkout, where to put the button, where to put it on the website, all that sort of stuff. Would you buy a course on that?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
How much would you pay for a course like that? And with this, no brainer price. Not I got to think about it. I got to speak to my partner. Like, you get an email, you click it. You're like, you know what? I'm going to buy that right now.
I could probably part with $40 right now.
Awesome. Perfect. Cool. So there we go. So that's how I would do it. Obviously, you have that conversation with 5-10 different people. The key thing there is the price, because a lot of people with their course will see other people charging it for $500, $1,000, and you could charge that. But if I'm just sending out an email to these people here, it's $40 that I'm selling it for, right? But if I know that, if I speak to 10 people and they all say $40, great. I'll send out that email. I'll make $400. Happy days. Better than charging $500 and making $0.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, with digital, it's different. Like for somebody that runs an agency, I want to go after the higher end because it's, I don't want to be.
It's your time.
Yeah, that's
it's your time.
It's more time based, or my team's time based. Yeah. And so we can, that. But with digital, that's the beautiful thing about digital. That's why I'm really attracted to it, is because whether it's 1 or 50 or 500 or whatever.
The work's the same. Zero.
Focus on the volume. Yeah, right. Exactly. Now you could back end things. You could back end, and this is something we don't need to get into, but you could back end other things, more coaching, a higher value program, or whatever. So there's so much you could do there. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, this is a great conversation. I think anyone that listens to this, if they're not excited about having a course at this point, I don't know. I don't know what else we can tell them, because it really is. It's, for me, the reason why I want to do courses is understanding that. From the scalability standpoint of it, and because like I say, you're not selling your time. You're not, just like I sell WordPress plugins and solutions, and that is it's the same thing. It's digital. So we have one plugin to support. Now, of course, as it scales up, you're going to have more people that find bugs and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
but still, it's one thing.
That's a VA from the Philippines for 10, 15 bucks an hour.
Yeah. Well, got one of those laying around.
Yeah.
So, but no, but yeah, it scales really, really well. And obviously, but at the core of it, like you said, it's finding the right product market fit. Like you got to find that. Like when I sold that little ebook, I was in the right place at the right time, talking to the right audience that were
with the right
really
offer.
Hungry about finding ways to make more money. And so, the internet marketing niche. But yeah, it's great stuff. And so if somebody, I feel like we could have another second or third. Hopefully we'll have it back someday. But if somebody in the meantime wants to reach out and learn more from you, are you on social media? Do you have a website and courses or coaching out there?
The best thing to do on the course space, if you're listening to this, you're probably a podcaster. I've also got a podcast, the Course Creator Community. Just type that in on whatever platform you'll find it. Best on social. Yeah, exactly. The best on social is my Facebook group, which is also called the Course Creator Community. It's one of the largest and most engaged Facebook groups for people wanting to create online courses. Nice. And just to put in perspective, that's not my fitness stuff. That's kind of different, right? I got my fitness stuff over there, but most people listening to this are probably not personal trainers, probably interested in courses. So Course Creator Community, podcast, and Facebook group.
That's it. And I'll leave it at this. For real. The other thing is I think it's brilliant when you can, you were successful in a certain space.
Yeah.
And you're able to take that now and expand out of that and help others in other spaces. Yep. That's how I feel like with me helping agencies.
Exactly.
The reason I can do that is because I'm successfully running an agency. And now I can turn around and I can actually have that authority to be able to go out there and help others. So
and awesome. You know what you're doing.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, Jono,
thank you, Matt.
That's all for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed that. Again, please subscribe if you haven't already and give us a thumbs up if we deserve it. If you want to comment on this episode's page, provide me with requests on topics for future episodes, or inquire about being a guest, please find your way to thebuilders.fm. You can contact me there or add a comment under these show notes. Now a word from our sponsor, my agency, Unified Web Design. We build custom websites, features, we maintain websites, we work with agencies to fulfill their web design and development needs, and more. If you are interested in our services or are looking for an agency to work with as a partner to build awesome sites for your clients, feel free to reach out to me at unifiedwebdesign.com. There's a handy contact me link at the top. Fill out that form and it will open a ticket, and that ticket will find its way to me. Thanks for joining me today. We'll see you next time.